study the best, study the experts, study their stories, and study what was inside them that made them make the change or that made them become an entrepreneur and make it full time, being their own boss and being self-sufficient. So get the best training, resources, and guidance. Now, when you do this, you're gonna start understanding how to be more resourceful, and you're gonna start understanding how to spark your own fire. Because here's what I've realized with this whole transition. The more you need someone else to tell you what to do, the less money you'll make. So some people like being employees because they haven't figured out how to spark their own fire. So if someone else has to tell you to be motivated or tell you to show up, the money's small. If you can spark your own fire and be self-sufficient, the more motivated you are, the more execution focused you are, the more you study and do your due diligence, get the best training, resources, and guidance, the more valuable you become, and in turn, the more money you make. Hey, it's Peter Voogd, and welcome. I'm excited to dive into a question I've got a lot. Probably the most common question the last couple years because of my book, 6 Months to Six Figures. And first of all, I'm excited for you guys to be here, and thanks again for being loyal listeners and followers. This is going to be on my YouTube channel as well as a podcast, so thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe below, and I promise you, we have some amazing stuff planned for the next 12 months. So the question is, what do I do if I don't like my job or I want to transition out of the 9 to 5 and become an entrepreneur? How do I make that transition? What are the common things that I should do in terms of steps? And I'm going to dive into this deep and give you the 6 biggest game changers to make your transition smooth to go from a 9 to 5 and for you to start your own business. Or if it's a different industry, getting into sales, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, I want to help you transition smoothly because I've seen this kill a lot of people's ambition, focus, goals, dreams, and they get discouraged. And the worst thing that happens is they settle. So here's what you have to understand. And I haven't done a video, I've been hesitant, but after I got this question for the 100th time, I felt like it was my obligation to give this value. 76% of people right now are actively disengaged and don't like what they do. 87% of people have no passion towards their job. So out of 100 human beings in the workforce, 87 of them have no passion. Now, people spend 90,000 plus hours at work in their career, and it's the number one factor of how someone's personal life turns out. That's more than 1/3 of your life. So 87 out of 100 people spend more than 1/3 of their life with no passion. None. The average American spends over 100 hours a year just commuting as well. And I started thinking about why more people don't become entrepreneurs or why people get into 9 to 5s they don't like. Now, for the people that love what they do, they want the security and they love their 9 to 5, this is not for you. Much respect to those 13%. But here's why I feel most people get into a 9 to 5 without understanding how detrimental it can be to your creativity, to your passion, to your happiness, to your lifestyle, to your future. One, they think it's their only option. That's a really common one. They think that's the only option. I used to tell my mom when I was growing up, I don't want the 9 to 5. And much respect to my mom. I love her. She's been my idol. I look up to her. But back in the day, she said, you have to. That's how everybody starts. So I got that ingrained in my head that I had to work a 9 to 5. I don't think my mom's the only one that portrays that or that tells their kids, you have to start with a 9 to 5. First of all, you don't. Second of all, their circle of influence and their environment expected it and made it a norm, and it was the common thing to do. And the third thing is fear, the uncertainty. What if I start a business and it fails? By the way, everything is risky. Starting a business is risky. Building a side business is risky. Getting a 9 to 5 is also risky because you're risking your whole life with no passion. That's also a risk. So everything's risky. You might as well risk what's best for your future happiness and your future success and results. So what's the transition? Okay. This is the 6-step formula I've been teaching for years that I haven't really made public, and I really hope this helps, and I really want you to leave this video with absolute clarity on how you're gonna make the transition. And I'll tell you right now, it's never been easier to become an entrepreneur if you have the right roadmap, the right network, and the right guidance. And it's never been tougher to become an entrepreneur, to start your own business, if you don't have these things as well as the right network and the right roadmap. So first thing, before you want to transition out, you have to figure out your why. Why do you want to leave your 9 to 5? Why are you frustrated? Why do you want to start a business? Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? Why do you want to be your own boss? Why do you want to have flexibility? Everything starts with why, and then it works its way out from there. Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? If the why is strong enough, the how finds a way. So you need to figure out your top 50 reasons. You need to come up with 50 reasons, internal and external. You need to figure out what's frustrated you in your past. You need to figure out really what's driving you to not like what you do, or to have that nagging pull inside to be an entrepreneur. What are your top reasons? Now, here's my thought process on this. You can't come up with 50 compelling reasons to where all of them mean a lot to you. Yes, they mean something, but if you're still not waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, fired up and excited to take on the day, you don't have strong enough reasons. So I would narrow it down to your top 10. Write down 50 and then cross out the ones that you don't feel are internal and give you juice, and get your top 10 written down. And those top 10, when you look at them, should give you chills and should fire you up as to why you want to transition out. Okay, that's number one. Figure out your why and stack so much juice and fuel and reasons where it doesn't give you any other option. Number two, now you have to figure out your strengths, but also your frustrations. So what are you really good at? What do you love doing? What is your unique ability that you could do for free? Where do you feel yourself getting distracted? Maybe it's a side passion, but also what really, really frustrates you. Okay, for me, someone else telling me what I was worth and someone else telling me when to show up and when to leave frustrated me more than ever. So when I had frustrations mixed with reasons and a why, there was no other option for me. Now, with these reasons and frustrations, think of some stories of your past that you could stack up as ammunition and fuel. One of mine was remembering back in the day. I'm not going to get into the whole detail of it, but there was a time where something meant a lot to my mom. One of her great friends from middle school and high school was supposed to show up. She gave her so much notice, and it came down to it, and the person said, "I'm sorry, I can't make it." And I'm 19 or 20, and the person said she couldn't make it to this very special event. And there's 2 reasons why she couldn't make it. Didn't have the time, didn't have the money. Now, this person wasn't 20. They were like 45, 50 years old. So I remember thinking when I was a kid, or an old teenager, whatever 18, 19-year-olds are, thinking, wow, I never want to be 50 and not be able to do something if I want to do it on my terms. And the fact that someone else can tell her she can't do something and she's 50 is embarrassing. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad person. That was my mindset when I was young, and that's what drove me to have these frustrations, the why and the reasons. Okay? So get your strengths. What are your strengths? What are you good at? Maybe you're a people person. Maybe you're analytical. You like numbers. Maybe you are good at taking action and getting results. I don't know. Figure out your strengths. Figure out what frustrates you. 3, increase your certainty. Here's the number one reason I feel people don't go from a 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. No certainty. They have their job and they have their security where, okay, every 2 weeks I get paid. That's their certainty. But here's the reality. There's no certainty anymore with these jobs because a lot of times people are replaced super easy. They're going to be replaced by robots, and it's tough to keep jobs these days. So there's no certainty. The only certainty you have is your ability and your confidence in yourself and your ability to make things happen as a human being. So this certainty needs to increase and needs to shift from a 9 to 5, getting paychecks every 2 weeks, to creating your own certainty in entrepreneurship. So how you create your own certainty is 2 things. Due diligence and network. That's it. The more you do your due diligence about what you want to get into, whether it's sales, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's being a speaker, author, online marketing, the more due diligence you have and the more you get around people that have already transitioned, the more that you get around people that are making it happen as an entrepreneur, the more certainty you have. See, most people don't want to transition because all their certainty lies in security and lies in their paycheck and lies in their job, because everyone they're around also needs certainty in a 9 to 5. If you can do your due diligence and realize that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are creating certainty based off their industry, based off their systems, based off their network, and you realize that you got to get around people that have already transitioned out and became entrepreneurs, that will transform your mindset. Who do most people that work at a specific 9 to 5 hang out with? Other 9 to 5 people. And most of them are talking about how they're too fear-based to make the jump, and that's why there's no certainty. So when you do your due diligence and when you really research and you really look into different industries and you get around people and you network with people that actually are making it happen, your certainty goes up. So that's number 3. Do whatever you can to increase your certainty in becoming an entrepreneur. This is probably one of my favorite ones. So star this one. Set a date. It does not become real till there's a date. If there's no date, you will always say later. So when you don't have a date, it's always someday I'll transition fully. So not right now. Right now I have bills. Right now I have a kid. Right now my kid's 9. Right now my kid's in high school. Oh, now I have college. And it never happens. If you set a specific date, it makes it real. And as time decreases, intensity, focus, and resourcefulness increase. I have a guy in our academy who had a 9 to 5. He was in a small town in Canada, that kind of a small mill town that only had 9 to 5. So jumping ship and becoming a full-time entrepreneur was not even heard of. Okay, and he spent months and months and almost a year trying to figure out these, but right when he set a date, it became real. And he said something clicked and he got into resource mode and he got to focus mode and he was able to concentrate and zero in on the due diligence and the network. Now he's fully transitioned and is a full-time entrepreneur, making a little bit more than he was making as an employee at a corporate job, and he's a lot happier and he has more freedom because he set a date. Next, number 5. Once you set a date, get the best training, resources, guidance. Don't try to do everything yourself. Don't try to guess and hope and wish. Get the best training, best resources, and best guidance. And when you get these, once again, it increases your certainty. Okay? So I don't know what that is for you, but based on the industry, study the best, study the experts, study their stories, and study what was inside them that made them make the change or that made them become an entrepreneur and make it full time, being their own boss and being self-sufficient. So get the best training, resources, and guidance. Now, when you do this, you're gonna start understanding how to be more resourceful and you're gonna start understanding how to spark your own fire. Because here's what I've realized with this whole transition. The more you need someone else to tell you what to do, the less money you'll make. So some people like being employees because they haven't figured out how to spark their own fire. So if someone else has to tell you to be motivated or tell you to show up, the money's small. if you can spark your own fire and be self-sufficient, the more motivated you are, the more execution focused you are, the more you study and do your due diligence, get the best training, resources, and guidance, the more valuable you become, and in turn, the more money you make in the marketplace. Number 6. Start making money on the side. Period. The best way to transition and the best way to create certainty is to actually get results. So everyone that I know that has transitioned from full-time 9 to 5, full-time corporate, full-time employee, to making it happen on their own as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a self-employed, they've started making money and they started to have a side hustle. But what you have to understand is you cannot get home from your 9 to 5 and watch TV or watch Netflix. You have to focus on education versus entertainment and bettering your reality versus escaping it. A lot of people, and I had this with my brother-in-law that works a pretty tough, hard labor job, and he gets home, he doesn't like it, he wants to start his own business, but when he gets home, he's so tired, he's like, oh, I just want to relax and watch TV. And I said, exactly why 99% of society never build a life on their terms. They're too tired to chase their dreams because this took all their energy. So you have to find a way, because here's how entrepreneurship works that I feel is such an exhilarating feeling. You work. You work extra hours. You work more hours. You work more hours. But eventually it flips. See, at a job, it's work, weekend. Work, weekend. Entrepreneurship is work, weekends, work holidays, weekends, holidays. But it flips. If you do it right, you follow these things. It's work, vacation, relax, take time off, work, take 2 weeks off, and your business runs itself and you start building a real lifestyle. That's the goal. And this should be one of your whys is if you put in the work and you build the systems and you get in the right company with the right vehicle, you will not believe the flexibility and freedom you have, but you have to take these steps and start making some real money on the side and sacrifice. I was willing to work 100 hours for myself so I never had to work 40 hours for somebody else. And eventually it flipped, right? I'm gonna leave you with this. By the way, any thoughts or questions, I'd love to get your comments below. How did you transition out of your 9 to 5? Or if you're still in your 9 to 5, do these help you? What's the tip that you think will make the biggest difference for you in your life right now? I'd love to hear. I do these videos for you, so hit that like button if you feel like this content's resonating with you, and I'd love to get your feedback. But most people are working just hard enough so they don't get fired. And the companies know that. So they're paying their employees just enough so they don't quit. Do not get caught up in this vicious cycle. I challenge you to follow these transition steps, and I assure you, you'll be able to live a life on your terms, your own way, very shortly. We'll talk to you guys soon. Hey, what's up? And thank you for watching this video. If you enjoy this video and this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button below, put the notifications on, and I assure you, you'll love this content and these videos.